Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Network. Today we are looking at something that has been making some serious waves in the user-friendly corner of the Linux world. Choosing a Linux distribution can feel like trying to pick a favorite child, except there are thousands of them and some of them really don't want to talk to you. But every now and then a project comes along that tries to bridge the gap between hardcore Linux power and out-of-the-box simplicity. We are talking about NebiOS, specifically the brand new NebiOS X 10.2 update. If you haven't heard of it, NebiOS is an Ubuntu-based distro, but it isn't just Ubuntu with a different coat of paint. It's packed with custom tech, a unique compositor and its own way of handling apps. It's built for gamers, creators and everyday users who just want their computer to work. So, if you're tired of the same old and want to see what the future of desktop Linux may look like, stick around, we've got a lot to cover, from a massive App Store rewrite to some experimental NVIDIA support that you'll definitely want to hear about before you hit that download button. Before we dive into the new 10.2 features, let's get everyone up to speed on what NebiOS actually is. At its core, it's based on Ubuntu, which is great because it means you get that massive library of software and community support. But NebiOS swaps out the standard GNOME or KDE environments for something called NebiDE. This is a custom Wayland compositor based on Wayfire. If that sounds like gibberish to you, don't worry. It basically means it's modern, fast and has some really smooth visual effects that make your desktop feel alive. One of the standout features for beginners is the OB, or out-of-the-box experience module. This makes setting up your system as easy as setting up a new smartphone. It also features its own application format called napp-runtime. Think of it like a portable app that lives in its own little protective bubble, keeping your system clean and secure. And for the gamers out there, it comes with Steam Proton integration and a kernel switcher. If you've ever struggled to get a specific game running or needed a newer kernel for your hardware, NebiOS makes that process a one-click affair instead of a 10-terminal command nightmare. Let's talk about the guts of this update. The 10.2 release is huge because it includes a total rewrite of the napp-runtime. The developer actually moved most of the code base to Python and compiled it with Nutka. For the non-coders watching, this basically means the engine that runs your app is now more efficient and easier to maintain. But what does that mean for you? In my tests, the cold start time for apps, that's the time it takes from clicking the icon to seeing the window, has been cut in half. We're talking about going from 500 milliseconds down to about 200. It sounds small on paper, but in daily use, the system feels incredibly snappy. Everything just pops open. Security is a big deal in 10.2. They've added a manifest signing system using ED 25519 and SHA 256. Again, tech speak aside, this means the system can now verify that the app you're running is exactly what the developer intended. It checks the signature against the official bundle store repositories. It's like having a digital seal of authenticity on every piece of software you use. Usually, these apps run in something called bubble wrap or BWrap isolation. It's like a digital fence that keeps the app from messing with your system files. However, in 10.2 there is a no sandbox mode. This allows verified apps to run at the system level for better integration. Now a quick word of advice from your friendly neighborhood Linux guy. Don't use this unless you absolutely have to. The sandbox is there to protect you. Even though the option is there, keeping that isolation layer active is the smartest move for your security. The way apps are identified and configured has moved to a new standard called NINF 2.0. If you're an app developer, you'll want to look into the new SDK. If you're just a user, all you need to know is that your old apps will still work, but the new ones will be even better integrated. By the way, if you're finding this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. I do deep dives like this all the time here on Linux Network to help you stay ahead of the curve in the open source world. It really helps the channel out and I appreciate every single one of you. Next up is the bundle store. This has also been completely rewritten for the 10.2 update. And the first thing you'll notice is the design. The UI is now adaptive. This is part of the One OS All Devices vision for NebiOS. Whether you're on a massive 4K monitor or a smaller handheld screen, the store scales perfectly. But it's not just a pretty face. Here are the big functional changes. If you're installing a massive game or a creative suite, you can now download multiple parts at once. It's much faster. you are locked into just the official NebiOS store. You can add third-party repositories just as easily. This is a huge win for usability. If you're browsing the web and find an app on FlatHub, you can click the install link and it will now redirect straight to the bundle store. It handles deb packages now too. And one of my favorite quality of life tweaks is that signed manifest files are now saved automatically. This means once you've downloaded an app, you can launch it even if you lose your internet connection. One thing I really respect about the developer's approach here is the recommendation algorithm. In most stores, the most downloaded apps stay at the top forever, making it hard for new developers to get noticed. The bundle store focuses on quality and recency. This puts indie developers on an equal playing field with the tech giants. Now, just a heads up, things like user comment stories and in-app reporting aren't in this specific release yet. For now, if you need to report a bug in an app, you'll still be using email, but those features are coming in future point releases. Let's talk about the desktop itself, NebiDE. This is where you'll spend 19% of your time, and 10.2 brings some much needed polish. The wallpaper engine got a major overhaul. The widget system is now much easier to edit and move around. When you go to add a new widget, the screen looks cleaner and the icons now match your system theme perfectly. It's those little details that make a distro feel premium. There is also a critical fix for the lock screen. Previously, there was a bug where only the primary monitor would lock, leaving your other screen visible to anyone walking by. That has been squashed. Now, all your monitors will lock simultaneously, keeping your data private. And other quality of life fixes include: the setup screen now automatically scrolls to your selected language and the keyboard defaults to your system language choice. The client minimize animation is finally fixed. It sounds minor, but smooth animation makes the OS feel significantly more responsive. And you can now properly assign custom keyboard shortcuts without the system getting confused. Now let's talk to my fellow NVIDIA users. We all know that NVIDIA and Wayland haven't always been the best of friends. NebiOS is trying to fix that by offering a dedicated ISO specifically for NVIDIA cards. If you go to the download page, look for the file ending in AMD 64 plus NVIDIA. But, and this is a big but, it is currently marked as experimental. This ISO comes with the 590 driver, which is the absolute latest. However, there is a catch for those of you rocking slightly older hardware. If you have a Pascal architecture card like GTX 1080 Ti, 1070 or 1050 Ti, the 590 driver does not support your card. The last supported driver for those legendary Pascal cards is the 580. So if you're on 10 series card, don't download the NVIDIA ISO. Instead, download the regular ISO and install the 580 driver manually. It will save you a lot of headaches. Also, a quick pro tip for the experimental ISO. If the login screen asks you for a password on the first boot, there actually isn't one. Just leave it blank and hit enter. No OS update is perfect. And I love that the NebiOS team is transparent about what isn't working yet. Here is what you need to look out for. If you're running this without a GPU using software rendering, you may see some flickering in NebiDE. It's a deep-rooted issue in the Wi-Fi layers and they're still working on a fix. This is a big one. When you update to 10.2 through the bundle store, you might get locked out automatically during the process. This happens because the system is swapping out an old plugin named Fire Decor for a new one, Cosmo Decor. Save your work before you hit update. You don't want to lose that half-finished spreadsheet because of a plugin swap. They've fixed an issue where the computer will fall asleep while you were still using a controller or a touchpad, and they've added something called Nebi-PM-caffeine to stop slow machines from falling asleep during the installation process. So what's the verdict on NebiOS X 10.2? Honestly, I'm impressed. The speed improvements in the napp-runtime are tangible and the bundle store is quickly becoming one of the best app stores in the Linux ecosystem. It's clear that the goal here is to create a daily driver that doesn't require you to be a terminal wizard, but still gives you the power of a modern Linux system. If you're a gamer, the Steam integration and NVIDIA-specific ISOs show that the developers actually care about your experience. If you're a creator, the stability and modern Wayland environment provide a great foundation. It is perfect. Not yet. The NVIDIA ISO is still experimental and the logout bug during updates is a bit of a quirk, but for a general purpose OS, is looking incredibly strong. I'd love to hear from you. Are you going to give NebiOS X 10.2 a try, or are you sticking with your current distro for now? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to check out the links in the description for the download. Thanks for watching this deep dive on the Linux network. I'm Cătălin and I'll see you in the next one.